Peace, peace. Welcome back, man. Appreciate you guys for liking, sharing, subscribing. All right. So I took over one of my students' haircuts, and I decided to do a live demo because he was confused about the actual texture of the hair and what guard to start with that first format. All right. So the first thing I did, I started with my one guard close, and I wanted to just make it light enough but not too light because the client said he didn't want it to be so much super light along the parietal. All right, so now after that, doing that one guard close for my first format, I'm going to use my fives, my fours, my threes, my twos, my 1 1/2, all the way back down to my one guard close. All right. In doing that, I'm just debulking the weight. I'm also going to use the thinning shears on this side to demonstrate the shear technique that you can use to just thin out the weight in the client's hair. All right, so right now I'm just breaking it down to get closer to where my first format line is. Then I'm gonna grab my shears and I'm gonna go into that process. All right, so right here I'm gonna grab my thinning shears. And with the thinning shears, you wanna make sure you see how the hair that pops out at the bottom of the comb. I wanna hit the hair that pops out at the bottom of the comb. You're always gonna be able to find where your actual line of demarcation that you're trying to reduce the weight from. It's always gonna pop out at the bottom of the comb. All right. Thinning shears are used just to debulk, not too much. You can blend with them as well, but it's really just to knock down some of that weight. All right. Now I'm gonna go back into my guard system. I'm gonna brush everything to see how much hair, make sure no hair is sticking to the client's hair. All right, him checking in the mirror to make sure, he's kind of nervous, All right. So now I'm gonna go back to that. I believe that's a 3 guard, and now I'm just gonna lightly go across that parietal to, debulk a little more and get more of my transition set. All right. So now, after doing this, what I like to do sometimes, which helps, I like to just maybe do like the outline, the detail work on the perimeter of the haircut. It gives you a better look, and you're able to kind of see your haircut come together, and you'll be able to go back in, pause, to do more detail work. All right. So right now I'm just breaking everything down. Same system that I use on every other hair texture. All right. Only difference in this system is I didn't create that second format line because there was no need for it. All right. So now I'm just detailing work, knocking off the weight. Now I'm down to that one guard. And now I'm really starting to bring that transition together right in that pocket. Now remember, I left off with that one guard closed. Now when I go to my open mid close clipper, it's only going to be in your taper zones. That's the definition of having a tapered fade, all right? Meaning you blend the sides, but at the corners are closer to the perimeter of the client's hair. You kind of taper it in to make it a lot lighter, all right? So now here I'm just doing the detail work so I can kind of see and gauge, where my transition pocket is in the fade. And I just want to make sure that I didn't cut off too much of that dark area along the parietal ridge, because when he lets his hair out, there's going to be a bunch of hair on the top. You want a transition pocket to where that hair is going to sit once he actually styles and he grooms his hair how he wants it styled. You're going to be able to see all of that. All right. So now that's me pointing out the 2 points where I'm doing the taper. All right. So now we're going to start back off. Same thing I did on one side, I did on the other. I'm going to start with that one guard close. All right. For that fade line. And now when you see me pointing like that throughout the haircut, that's just me identifying the places where I'm going to have that taper or that tapered out effect on the actual haircut. All right, so I'm going to chime back in. On this side too, one thing. I didn't go into the shear work. I wanted to show the difference in what you can do with the actual clipper. All right, you just start with a bigger guard to remove the bulk. All right, but you can do the same thing with the clippers as you can do with the shears. Only difference is with the shears gives you a little bit more leadway. You remember, whenever you're cutting with a guard, you know, if you're open, mid, or closed, it's affixed to that actual level. All right, with your shears, you can kind of you have more room and cushion to be able to kind of like manipulate the hair in certain sections. All right, and as you can see, what I just did right there, I just readjusted my clips to make sure that I'm not cutting the client's hair in that portion that he doesn't want to actually cut. All right, so now I'm just gonna break down each guard, starting from your biggest guard all the way back down to where you started your original format line from. All right, it's a slow process for a fade. I know some people say, oh, you could do a fade in 5 minutes. It really depends on how much weight you're dealing with and if you're trying to stay in a particular pocket. Now, 5-minute fade is like open clipper on the top, skin on the sides. You know, you only have open, you only have mid and close, and then you're done with the fade. A little trimmer work, shape up, your client is done. It's a quick 5-minute fade, pardon me. Now, for a particular fade like this, which is a faded taper, it's going to take a little bit more process because you have to understand where you're placing each guard as you're going down the scale. All right, you never want to try to place your guard too high into a guard too high that's smaller into a higher scale, because that's when you're going to start to create those lines and start chasing your actual fade. All right, now as you can see, I already worked my way down. The lighting right here in this particular angle, you really can't see the heaviness or the darkness of the hair, but when we're gonna turn the camera a little bit, and you're gonna be able to see the darkness, the heaviness that I actually did leave at the top of the parietal. All right, I'm gonna do my detail work, same as I did on the opposite side. And this also helps me to keep where I'm gonna be actually doing that taper at and blending it out. All right, now you see how once that camera angle changed, you can like actually see the darkness that I left on that parietal. All right, and that's going to be great for when he lets his hair down, that curly texture hair. It's going to sit right where he wants it, so his curls will really pop, the fade will pop, everything will look great. All right, a little trimmer over comb. Those small things are going to help you in detailing. All right, and just remember, whenever you're doing an outline, it's like you're sketching onto a canvas. So the first time you pass, it's not going to be super sharp. You go back over it again, and you gradually create that image that you're looking for. All right, now you can see in that bottom of that C point, all right, that's that taper zone. That's that pocket where I was telling you that skin taper is going to be at. All right, so this is why they call it a tapered fade. All right, now I'm going to go through the process in the back of the client's head, pause, and I'm going to go through that same exact system. One of the main reasons why I like to do side by side is because it sets me up for repetition, and I'm knocking out the biggest part of my real estate. All right, so in other words, when I go through a process, or I go through my transition on one side of the client's head and then I do the opposite side of the client's head, I already went through that progression twice. All right, once I did it to, you know what I'm saying, to my best of my ability. By the second time I do it, I already have a groove, so I kind of know exactly where I'm going to be placing my guards as I'm doing my transition and setting in my blend. By the time I get to the back of the client's head, pause, where the occipital is, I'm really just on autopilot, because I already picked up each and every guard once. I understand the texture of the hair I'm cutting. I'm understanding which way the hair is falling. So it just makes it a lot easier of a process, all right? As you can notice, I broke down that taper, like that fade point in the back very, very quickly, all right? So once I break that down, I'm gonna go ahead and just finish out the skin taper in the nape, all right? And that's when you have that faded taper, all right, or a taper fade. All right, a little fine tuning, detail work, hit the corners. All right, really appreciate you guys for tuning in. This was just a quick 14-minute video. Chime in. You'll be able to see more detailed work that I actually do. And just appreciate you guys for tuning in. I'm gonna take the clips out so now you can see like the end result of the haircut. And like always, man, please like, share, subscribe. All right, bam, and that's your tapered fade. Client's happy, everything's good.
Back up
Peace.
off me. Man, you don't sit your lanky ass down. Bottom line, I will knock you the fuck out.
You can't fight an old lady in church. What's wrong with you?
What you mean, baby? She's starting with me. She keep it up, I'm gonna take it outside. You better get your butterfinger eating ass back in the car. I may not hit a woman, but I'll beat a bitch's ass. Oh.
How you like that? What you gonna do, Claude? What you gonna do, huh?
Oh.
What the hell is that?
Earl Jr. likes to hang out with Daddy. Precious, ain't he?
Get the butts. Let him up.